Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Tuesday, September 19th of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful Monday. Hopefully, your Monday got out, hopefully, your week got out to a good start. And boy, oh boy, do we have quite a bit of things to go over in today's video. So, strap in. Let's hop into the astrology. Let's blast off and see what we have in store for today. Well, the day starts off with a moon in Scorpio that's going to oppose Jupiter retrograde in Taurus. This is happening at 15 degrees. I said it's going to be happening earlier in the morning, around 6-ish, like 6:30-ish or so, Eastern Standard Time. So people will be getting up and getting ready to go to work around this time. We start off the day with that opposition. Interesting how yesterday we started off the day with a trine to Saturn. Today we start off the day with the opposition to Jupiter. Oh, yeah, this is going to be an interesting opposition. Why? Well, at 15 degrees, this moon is definitely wanting to feel the love, but in a deeper way and in the way that it wants to feel it. And being in opposition to Jupiter, which is the largest planet, right, wants to be the sun, right, and has its own has its gravitational pull and has all these different moons and has all of these things that are revolving around it, is retrograde into the sign of Taurus. So boy, oh boy, this could be going to look for value in places where you are feeling deflated, going to look for value in places that aren't really giving the juice anymore. This is like trying to put the wrong kind of gas in, the wrong kind of car. You're going to blow your car up. You're going to destroy your car, right? This is definitely especially with like a moon of Scorpio that's already feeling things deeply. And we can see that the moon is going to move to that 16th degree and it's going to square Venus as well. Now, Venus and Jupiter have been a square for months, right? So that has not been easy. Remember, Jupiter much rather be where Venus is because he could be with his wife. That's not the case right now. Now, this moon is going to square Venus and oppose Jupiter at the same time. Yeah, they're within a degree or so of each other. Yes, Venus is coming off of the square to Jupiter, but that doesn't mean that we're not feeling the remnants of it. It's interesting. We get like this last almost little push of this Venus square Jupiter. You get like this last little like almost like kind of spark, if you will, this last little this last little push to kind of like get us to start, okay, what was this whole thing about? And it comes via a moon that is in detriment in Scorpio, opposing this Jupiter. So remember how I said yesterday that this Jupiter, because of its gravitational pull and the nature of Jupiter, that it will pull out deeper emotions that we did not know were percolating under the surface. A square to Venus here in the sign of Leo, which is also a very magnetic energy. Obviously, it's the sun, right? So the most magnetic energy in our solar system. This square is also going to bring up, like, wow, it's going to definitely bring up some lessons and some challenges when it comes to worth, when it comes to value, how we receive love, the way that we express our joy, the way that we would like our joy to be received by other people. The square with this Jupiter and this moon, kind of interesting enough, brings us to this interesting reality point, if you will, right? Because that's the thing. The moon probably would rather be where Venus is right now. But Venus definitely doesn't want to be where Scorpio is because Venus rules Taurus. So Venus does not want to be in Scorpio, right? Jupiter is okay in Taurus. It's all right, Much rather be where Venus is. So it's like the moon and the Jupiter want to be where Venus is. So they're kind of jealous of Venus right now, right? The moon rather be there because at the very least, it's in an illuminating sign, and it can feel a bit of that kind of creative energy in Leo, right? I like to think of the moon in Leo is like the supporting cast character that really wants to be the main character, but they're not the main character of the film. but they provide such context and they provide such an important role that there are moments where they will shine in the spotlight. They'll get their moments in the movie. So it's not like just because they're not the main character or the lead actor or the lead actress doesn't diminish the role of that moon in Leo. If anything, they have a very integral, important role. So the moon would rather be where Venus is, and Jupiter would rather be where Venus is, right? So in many ways, it's going to sort of be like this interesting tug that we get, right? Where Venus is going to be, oh crap, I got these two planets that are kind of jealous of me. I haven't felt this all summer. I haven't felt any energies being jealous of me all summer. And now I got the moon and I got Jupiter over here jealous of my position. What am I going to do about this? And we got to remember, Venus is still in shadow. So, and Venus is coming into some interesting aspects. It's coming into the trine with Chiron, right? It's going to, well, yeah, it's mainly the trine with Chiron. It's coming into eventually a square with Uranus. That'll be coming up soon. So, and, Mars is eventually, well, I don't know if they'll quite sex. I have to actually look more into it. But like I said, there are some of these things that are kind of on the horizon that are kind of building up. Like I said, trying to Chiron and that square to Uranus, which will be very important, right? So you have these two energies that are wanting to be where Venus is. The moon is feeling these deeper emotions, and some people may not be prepared for that, for these things to kind of come to the surface, percolate up, bubble up to the surface. And then Jupiter is like, I'm just chilling here on the farm, and there's like not really much going on. I made like this huge party, and now everyone's left the party. And now Jupiter is like by himself on the farm, or with like a few people on the farm, and it's not a massive party anymore. Everyone's kind of gone home. So the party has to go within. As far as like how we are going to expand, it comes from the inside. This is going to be an interesting testing moment. That whatever kind of emotions kind of come to the surface, whatever sort of magnetize, whatever percolates up, whatever bubbles up, we have to learn how to receive our own love, receive our own creativity, receive our own joy. Venus, of course, wants to be seen, right? Wants to feel beautiful. It wants to be showered with affection. And we all want to be showered with affection from time to time, right? But we can't, this is the time where it's like, if you're expecting it to come from an external source and you won't even give yourself that energy, you won't even spend the time to give yourself that energy and to fill up your own cup, how can we expect other people to do that for us? And that's the important part of how the day caps off. Today's going to be a very important day of, all right, maybe you've been doing something for a while and you're wanting some recognition. And maybe you're not getting the recognition that you want. Maybe you're getting the recognition from like 1 or 2 people. But you want recognition from 5 people or 10 people or one particular person. You just want them to notice you so bad. You want them to notice you so bad. It's like, oh, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me. Are you going to pick yourself? You already been picked. The universe picked you. God handpicked you for this role. Are you going to go? Are you going to accept that God handpicked you for this role? Or are you going to be concerned about someone else, that one person that you want the acknowledgement from? Are you just concerned about that one thing? The one way that this is not, especially with a T-square like this, especially with a moon that's in detriment in Scorpio, a Jupiter that's feeling deflated in the sign of Taurus, self-worth and value, and a Venus that retrograde in Leo, only in Leo for the first time in over 200 years, and while it's coming forward, it's in shadow and is dealing with a Jupiter that's jealous of her because she's with his wife and he's not with his wife. And you want things to look a certain way and trying to force your ideal of it. Like I said, this is fixed energy. Fixed signs will probably be able to navigate this a little bit better. Used to it. Other signs, mutable. Mutable might be able to deal with it a little bit better because you have the sun in Virgo. Cardinal signs, it's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I think, like I said, with this sort of energy, I feel like Leos or Scorpios probably will do the best with this kind of energy. Taurus will be a little bit iffy. Aquarius, Venus is opposing you right now, right? So it could be a little weird. But like I said, this is definitely a moment where it's we can definitely get fixated on how things look. We can get fixated on a particular vision and a belief with Jupiter. We can get fixated on how something looks and how something appears to us and the shininess of it, right? With the Venus and the Leo. And then we can get fixated on how we feel about it. And the way that we feel about it is never going to change. It's never going to change. It's never going to change. This Jupiter is going to be challenging your emotions. Oh, it's never going to change. It's always going to be this way. Jupiter's like, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Venus is going to be like, are you sure about that? Are you sure you want it that way? Are you sure you want it to look that way? Do you know what that entails? You're asking for that. Do you know what that actually entails? We also have the Sun opposing Neptune at 26 degrees. Talk about a freaking reality check. Talk about and Neptune, like I'm telling you, all right, so like the Sun in Virgo with a Neptune retrograde, which means that Neptune's offline at 26 degrees, and this is happening at 8, like 2 plus 6 is 8. So that has to do with Saturn and the box, the matrix in many ways, and Saturn's offline. These are glitches in the matrix. And the revelation of what's really going on. Are you going to be able to handle that? Or are you going to want to go back and eat your steak, even though you know that the steak is fake? That's the kind of energy that this is. We've asked repeatedly for this matrix to collapse, change, shift, whatever you want to call it, right? But what happens when reality actually smacks us in the face and we come face to face with how things really are? How are we going to react and respond to that? How is that going to challenge us? How do we overcome that? Or are we want to go right back to sleep? That's the thing. A Sun opposing Neptune, and if Neptune is all about dreams and stuff like that, retrograde means that it's awake, right? So this is like wake up. This is a wake up call from the universe. Wake up. This is like some of y'all might think this is cool. How my parents actually used to come into my bedroom. They didn't do this all the time, but there were times where they used to come into my bedroom like early in the morning, probably like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and actually be banging pans and pots to get us awake because they had to go to their job. They had to go early. They had to get to the kitchen early to start cooking. They had a catering company. They had to get to the kitchen to start cooking early, and they would wake us up that way sometimes. I didn't like it at the time, of course. Looking back, I think it's kind of funny, but they would do that. You're talking about going from a dead sleep to wide awake, having to get ready, brush my teeth, get all my school stuff together. We go to their work. We're there for a few hours. Maybe we go back to sleep, and then they take us to school. And then sometimes we go back to work with them, or we take the bus and go home. But that's what this is a wake-up call kind of energy with a moon that's in opposition to Jupiter and another opposition. Both major luminaries are in direct oppositions today. And they are in oppositions to the planets, Jupiter and Neptune, both of which traditionally rule Pisces. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So think about that. Think about the importance of that, to have the two luminaries making major oppositions on this day. And the moon makes 2. It also opposes Uranus. It opposes your ass. It opposes your ass. That's going to be more towards the end of the day. You're going to see that moon come to 22 degrees. It'll oppose Uranus around 8:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And of course, bam, 2 plus 2 is 4. This is Uranian energy. So we got a very Uranian degree here. Now, at least the moon is in the decan that it likes to be in. It's in the decan that it rules. The decan of the moon, Scorpio. I have my sun in this decan. I'm starting to learn more about this decan. I do feel like what this decan does is that it kind of cools off a lot of the intensity of Scorpio. That's what I feel like this last decan does. As someone who's, like I said, I have my sun in this decan. I have Pluto, Mars, and my sun in this decan, right? So it definitely so the energy kind of cools off a little bit. The intensity kind of cools off a little bit. And boy, do we need it, because then it comes into the opposition with Uranus. And that's why I was saying earlier, are you able to provide and give that love to yourself and to accept yourself, and also know that God picked you for this? You are so worried about what someone else, like getting someone else's recognition, someone else's attention. And I got to learn this too. I have to learn this too. I don't just make these videos for y'all. I make these videos primarily talking to myself. I'm talking to myself because I need to hear these things too. And I just get in here, I channel, and what comes through is what comes through. So I need to learn these things myself, trusting and believing that God picked me for this path for a reason, just like God picked you for a reason, which means that whether you have 5 people in your corner, 1 person in your corner, or 10 million people in your corner recognizing you, the fact that God recognizes you, because you would even have this spiritual mission if it wasn't for God, that is all that matters. That is all that matters. So when we get this opposition with Uranus, this can definitely bring up some frustrations, some emotional frustrations of like, well, wanting to feel accepted, wanting to feel like you belong in a group, especially a group where your values align with each other. But Uranus is retrograde, so there's a lot of shifting that's going around. The lights are off. Trying to connect with groups of people and it's just not clicking. That's going to be the little bit more of the difficult part of this. Now, the moon, of course, is coming into a nice little trine with Neptune, but that'll be more of like a tomorrow aspect, right? As the sun is coming off of that trine, off that opposition. But then, of course, the sun goes into, trining over to Pluto. So, I mean, and that's more of a tomorrow aspect. But still, like, this is definitely one of those days where I feel like the universe can be providing us with so many gifts and so many blessings, and giving us an opportunity to really feel our worth and feel like whatever these emotions are percolating with this in the Scorpio energy, whatever the emotions that Jupiter is going to be kind of pulling out, that Uranus is going to be kind of pulling out, even the sun's going to be pulling out, because it's going to sextile the sun. That'll be more, of a Wednesday aspect, but it will sextile the sun, going into the next day. Because that's more of like let's see. Yeah, that's like overnight, essentially, is when that happens. And then they'll sextile at 27 degrees. So you get, that's pretty cool, though. So you got sextile, they're trining each other. You almost have like a kite here, almost. It's a little off-center because of Uranus being at 22 degrees, so it's not exactly exact. But it's kind of like a little bit of a wobbly kite. Can y'all see this with the trine here, the opposition? You see that? So it's kind of like a wobbly kite, you know what I mean? It's a little, it has, it's not quite symmetrical. And I think that's kind of where we are right now. Especially a sun in Virgo wants things to be symmetrical, wants things to be kind of orderly. And a Mars, especially being at this 15th degree of Libra too, definitely trying to find the balance, right? Definitely trying to find the balance. Makes sense though. 1 + 5 is 6. Venus, which rules Libra. So yeah, bam. If you want to know how Venus rules Libra, bam, balance. 15 degree. That's its degree that it likes to be at. So this is definitely one of these moments. where we are definitely trying to find some balance, and we had to acknowledge that the balance isn't quite there. Life isn't always symmetrical. In fact, it seldom is. And we can bitch, moan, complain, and get frustrated about the asymmetrical nature of life, or we can find the beauty in the asymmetry. But there are still ways to bring balance and symmetry to things. There's still ways to bring harmony to our lives, right? So, for example, say if I were to do like 3 readings like a day for say like I just get to the point where I'm able to do this full time, and I do like 3 to 5 readings every day. Ideally probably like 2 readings, but let's just say I did like 3 to 5 readings every day, and that's just what my schedule was. The amount of energy that I'll take to do that, first of all, is a lot. Now, I would have a very asymmetrical life and imbalance if I did not do anything to give back to myself. If I was just cranking out readings and I didn't go for walks, if I didn't meditate, if I didn't exercise, if I didn't do anything else for myself, and all I was doing was those readings at that kind of volume, at that kind of capacity, you burn yourself out. So there's ways to give balance and ways to harmonize your life, but you have to give back to yourself, and you can't expect anyone else to do it for you. You can't expect anyone to motivate you, especially after a certain amount of time, especially after you become an adult. There's only so much that people are going to motivate you. When you're a kid, it's different. Your parents are going to tell you what to do. They're going to try to motivate you to do stuff, right? But once you get to an adult, yeah, you'll have your parents that will still try to motivate you and friends and such, but it'll get to the point where people just don't care anymore if you just don't do it yourself. And then you just kind of end up TikToking along, just doing the same thing for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and you don't really get like any progress, right? And because people will just be like, well, I gave you ideas, I gave you clues, I gave you hints, I tried to help you, I tried to provide some type of insight. That's the other thing about the moon opposed Uranus too. Are you willing to accept the help of other people? You know what I mean? Or do you want to just do this all by yourself? You want to be like a loner as far as this goes. Oh, we need each other. We need people. No one person is an island. Everybody needs someone. The most successful people in the world wouldn't have gotten there, regardless of the way that you feel how they might have made their money, if they're shady or not, blah blah blah. The most successful people in the world still needed people to get where they are. So no person is an island. And when you live in a society where they're desperately trying to separate us, to disband us, to have us discriminate against each other, to have us separate ourselves based off of stupid, trivial shit that doesn't actually matter, then everyone's going to just feel like they have to do everything by themselves and they can't trust anybody. Today is an exercise of trust, this 19th. With these oppositions, with these squares, it's an exercise of trust. Do you trust that even when reality is staring at you in the face and maybe it does not look the way that you want to, and you want things to look a certain way, and you want to feel beautiful, you want to feel creative and joy, you want other people to see the kind of joy that you're wanting to create in your life, but maybe they don't quite see it, maybe they don't quite get it, maybe they don't quite get the vision and stuff like that. Maybe the values, are they in sync? If they aren't 100% in sync, is it the worst thing in the world too? That's the other part too. Some people want this is like an all or nothing kind of energy with its fixed energy and a moon opposing Jupiter and them both squaring Venus on this day. That's like I was like, if you don't 100% see things my way and the way that I value it, then we cannot associate and be friends or be whatever. That's it. Don't fall for that fucking trap, that all or nothing trap. That you feel like you can't get along with someone just because they voted for a different candidate. Ooh. Or just because on 1 or 2 issues, y'all may have differing views. Ooh. That's a boogeyman. They did something that's different than you. That's what they're trying to do. Don't fall for the trap. Do not fall for the trap. I don't like clapping because I don't know if this actually accomplishes anything, but do not fall for the trap. Okay? You're not going to always see 100% eye to eye with every single person. You're not going to. Now, you have to determine what percentage you're willing to, compromise for. But some people want it to be like 100% or nothing. Or let's just say 95% or nothing. Sometimes it's 60. Sometimes it's 40. Sometimes it's 10. Can you see the value in that 10 though? Or that 40? Or that 60? Can you see the value in that? Can you still be a decent human being to that person even if y'all don't see eye to eye on everything? It's okay. Y'all don't have to just become like best friends and shit. They don't have to be like your best man or they're made of honor at your wedding. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that. We got to get back to that kind of energy, man. We got to get back to that. So, like all or nothing kind of shit, where it's like the moment that your views differ with someone else, just the moment, just the slight little inkling of it, and then people just are willing to just cut people off at just the slightest inkling of a difference. We'll never fucking unite it that way. And that's what they want. They don't want us to unite. So, because that's where our power is. That's where our power is. So, yeah. Let's get into the cards, shall we? I'm using the first tarot deck I ever bought. This deck shuffles fantastically. Everything is here. We just need to open our spiritual eyes to see it. Actually, before I hop into that, I want to read, because it came from this book right here, The Voice of Knowledge. And that's where this passage comes from. I want to just read that little bit here, though. So I'll just read a little bit here. Why not, right? What we call love is something that is so generic that it's not even what love really is. Love is much more than words could describe. As I said before, we cannot really talk about the truth. We need to experience the truth. The same is true for love. The only way to really know love is to experience love, to have the courage to jump into the ocean of love and perceive it in its totality. That is the only way. But we are programmed with so much fear that we don't see the love coming from all around us. We look for love in other people when they don't love themselves. Of course, we won't find love there. We only find selfishness and a war of control. You don't have to search for love. Love is here because God is here. The force of love is everywhere. We humans create the story of separation, and we search for what we believe we don't have. We search for perfection, for love, for truth, for justice, and we search and search when everything is inside of us. Everything is here. We just need to open our spiritual eyes to see it. Meditate on that today. See where that takes you today. Allow it to kind of open up your eyes a bit and just realize that everything is already right here. Everything's already been presented to us. I think it's natural for us to want to search and clamber and try and find meaning in different things and, want more for ourselves, But when you get caught up in separation tactics, when you get caught up in trying to find love in people that don't even love themselves, I think you can have love by just appreciating them, but trying to make them fill up your cup. I think that's the problem. You got to be able to fill up your own cup. And the only way you fill up your own cup is by establishing your relationship with the divine, your relationship with God. That's the way that you fill up your cup. And then when you can share that with other people, that's the beauty of it, right? So anyways, just wanted to share that with you guys. And let's hop into cards for today. So what do we got going on? All right, what do we got? Ooh, we got the world card. It's upside down, though. Oh, the world upside down. Well, your world may turn upside down today. Let's see. Well, we got the Three of Cups as well. I think this is interesting. I think this is about celebrating life, even though it does feel like the world has been turned upside down. Let's just be real. For the last 3 years, regardless of where you are, your beliefs on the last 2 years, and what happened, the fact of the matter is that the world has been flipped upside down. And the poles are shifting too, right? How can we find the party and the joy in that? Are you willing to open yourself up to celebrating life in its totality, even though things have kind of flipped on its head? Or are you just going to sit there and just not see the blessings that are all around us? Bottom of the deck, we do have the card of temperance. It is reversed, though. We have to have this is about taking our situation, any situation where we feel stagnant, and having the courage to alchemize that situation. It being reversed, we don't feel like we have the power to change our situation. But you always have choice. You can always do something different. And it doesn't have to be anything super, super, super big. You don't have to just get up and move to a whole nother place, another state. I mean, you can do that if you want to. If you feel really called to do it and you feel like it's aligned with your spiritual path, you can do that. But also, like I said, with the Sun opposed Neptune, this can be the energy. I'm about to call some of y'all out. Like that person that you think is your twin flame that you follow, but they live several states away, and you feel like it's your spiritual mission and it's like you're calling to go and up and leave where you are. Like, say they're in, like, I don't know, say you live in like Montana and you follow this person and they live in Florida and you swear they're your twin flame. This is not really the kind of energy to just get up and go and like meet them and be telling like, I'm your twin flame, you're my twin flame. This is not that kind of energy, right? With the Sun opposed Neptune, nah, this ain't that. It's all right here. It's all right here. So if there's areas in your life where you may feel some stagnancy, something that you may feel like you need to adjust and whatever like that, we are still in this Virgo season. We still have a Mercury that is going to be at 9 degrees today. So it's starting to pick up some speeds, but slowly, right? You can take your situation and you can transform it. You can alchemize it. You can turn it into something uh, more constructive, more beautiful, more creative, more full of joy and passion. So you're not really feeling stuck. But it's something that you already have. It's not something that you need to go get. It's not something that is outside of you or external. It's something that you already have, right? So let's get the Oracle card. I don't use this deck that often, but it is the Moonology Oracle card deck. So I've had this deck for a little bit. I've only used it maybe a handful of times, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch it up today and use some different cards and just, see what comes up. So it'll be interesting to see what we get for the Oracle card message. Okay, what do we have? Oh, we have the blue moon. Believe in the impossible. Believe in the impossible. Even though the world is flipped on its head, even if you feel like you can't change your situation and alchemize it, and when you believe in the impossible, today's the day that will help you to do that, especially with the Sun opposed Neptune and with all these squares that are happening too. Come in the day when the moon opposes Uranus, that's definitely just like an epiphany out of nowhere. It's retrograde, but it's an epiphany out of nowhere. Believing in the impossible, you got to think about it. It was thought to be impossible at one point. This computer, lights inside, running water the way that we have it in all these buildings and everything like that. All of these things were thought to be impossible, but somebody believed in them. Somebody believed that these things were possible, and now we have them. Who's to say that you have something? I think we all have something. I think, unfortunately, most people aren't able to actually physically manifest that thing. But we all have something impossible that we believe in. something that would really help to propel humanity forward in a positive way and make a really big impact. We all have something. And if we really, really, believe in ourselves and really believe in the impossible, we can make that impossible possible. Impossible is I'm possible. So believe in the I'm possible. That's what today is about. Believe in the I'm possible. Oh, you want to write that book? I'm possible. Oh, you want to go be an actor? I'm possible. And you have to come at it from a different angle. Maybe you don't go the traditional routes. Maybe you self-publish. Maybe if you want to be an actor, you start just making videos. Start doing skits. You go through other methods. Freaking the other day, I saw a freaking commercial on like regular TV, and it was like these content creators that I first saw on like the Facebook Reels and stuff like that. Like, it's like a dude and his dad, right? And they end up getting a commercial deal or something like that. I'm like, yo, there are so many methods. There's so many ways to get to the quote unquote promised land. We just can get so fixated on looking a certain way. Probably because we're looking at someone else's journey. But you can't look at someone else's journey. I think we can maybe reach out, maybe ask these people how they did it. But if you do exactly the way that they did it, it's probably not going to work out. You still have to figure out how it works for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this comes down to. Believe in the impossible. Believe in the I'm possible. Believe that you are possible. You are possible because you're here. You're alive. You're breathing. You're well. You have the gift of life. So move forward with it. I do this work because I want to inspire people. I want to motivate people to be their best versions. And, I myself have a long way to go, but I have crafted my life in a way, and I've kind of given myself a lot of different tools to help me become my greatest version, my better version. And I'm still a work in process. I'm a work in process, just like everyone else, a work in progress or whatever, just like everyone else. But this is what I love to do. This is what I get excited about. It's just talking to you guys, uplifting you guys, and telling you guys that you can do it, because we all go through hard times, and you just never know what someone else is going through. We see their highlight reels and stuff like that. And I think that's the other thing about this Three of Cups energy is that, like, don't get too caught up in the highlight reel of someone. You never really know what they're dealing with behind closed doors. You never know where in their life they may be feeling stuck with that temperance in reverse. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the time to, of course, appreciate and celebrate life. Don't get too caught up in someone else's highlight reel, because there's always other stuff that's going on behind the camera. The world has turned upside down. Things are kind of crazy right now. We still have 5 planets in retrograde, but we're going to make it. So we are going to make it. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I didn't think it was going to go this long, but I guess it did. But you know what? That's just how it goes sometimes. So hope that you guys enjoyed this. Sometimes I get so excited and my words just run together. But if you did enjoy this, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. As always, y'all take care, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys on the next astrology forecast or whatever video I put out next. So I know I want to crank up the kind of content that I want to do. So probably need to get more involved in Instagram and TikTok. So anyways, peace.